My name is Parita Patel, and I am the Chief Operating Officer for You Fitness, where we have your no excuses workout solution. With me today is Renee Vaughn, and before I properly introduce her, I just want everyone to think of today's episode as really focusing about mindset and what we learned through Renee's experience in her fitness journey and all the struggles and obstacles she might be facing doesn't mean that you can't get to the results that you want. So if anything, it's more about finding the right mentality and focusing on your end goal and then working towards it on a regular basis. So now we'll introduce Renee, who is amazing. She literally embraces the whole no excuses mentality. And just a little bit about her, she is the founder of Williams Consulting Group, also First Lady to the University of Tampa. And on top of that, she also serves in various committees and chairs and on different boards, really involved in the community in Tampa Bay and more. And with that, our wonderful superwoman of For You Fitness, Renee Vaughn. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, we're really excited. We know how valuable your time is, so really means a lot to us. But I just wanted to start with the first question of if you can tell us a little bit about your fitness journey and why you've made your health and fitness such a big priority.
I've always kind of worked out over the years, but maybe 3 or 4 years ago I started doing strength training, and that's when I really noticed some great changes. So I've always been focused on the food thing, although I've learned a lot more about eating and the focusing on ingredients in the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been through a lot. We've had our 1-year anniversary just within the past couple of weeks, right? Which has been amazing. But what would you say your main goals really are?
Healthier and stronger. I've kind of gotten over the whole lose weight thing. I haven't lost any weight in probably 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
I'd like to trim up my skinny fat, and I've had a little measure of success with that.
Sure.
But really, just bone strength is really important to me, and being strong, being fit on every day.
Absolutely. So before you came to For You Fitness, can you maybe just take us through what your experience was? You said you've been at it for a couple of years before that. So what were those workouts like versus what you're doing now?
So I did strength training at Max Q Fitness.
Sure. And
there were 5 machines where we did 6 reps, worked muscles to tear, and then after the 5 machines, I would eat to repair the muscle. And that consisted of 2 ounces of protein 6 times a day and no carbs, ever.
Oh, wow.
Or as few as possible.
Sure.
And so it was a challenge to do that. I did get a lot stronger. My bone density improved, but eating was challenging.
Absolutely. So then how does that differ for what you're doing with us now, both on the training side as well as the nutrition side?
Well, at For You Fitness, of course, one of my biggest challenges was learning to eat carbs on workout days.
Sure.
But I'm enjoying my good carbs.
Absolutely.
Now. And I'm at For You Fitness, I'm getting stronger everywhere. Sure. And I don't even know if that was my goal when I first came. It was the way For You Fitness trains. Yeah. And I've noticed differences in my legs, my knees. I mean, everything is stronger. Yeah. And so while it wasn't intentional, now I'm really hooked on it.
Yeah. Love that. For those of you who don't know, sometimes you do need tickets to the gun show, and we have them free on a regular basis with this one. Can you flex for us, Renee? Can you show everybody those beautiful arms?
There we go.
Love it. Amazing. Amazing. And those babies came to us in the first 4 weeks of training.
They did.
Which was incredible. We had to kind of double take and look back at her original measurements to see if this was real. So it was honestly incredible, and now it's just about maintaining that strength she has gained and then continue to work towards the other areas that might need a little more attention. So with that, what about the food? So you said that you're gaining, you eat carbs now, which is great. What have been some of the other changes you've had to make on that end, and have they been difficult to overcome?
I always thought that I was really good at making choices.
Sure.
But one of the first things I learned at For You Fitness was that while I was looking at carbs and potassium and all of the other fiber, I really wasn't looking at what was in the product.
Sure.
Like ingredients. So that was a huge lesson for me to look at the chemicals, look at, if it starts with enriched, don't eat it.
Yeah.
So that's been a really fun part
Sure.
of making changes in my eating habits.
So what would you say is the rule now when you look at a box, or if you look at something and you look at the ingredients, what rules do you follow?
Less is more, of course.
Absolutely.
And to look at the chemicals. I was just shocked at the things I was eating that I thought were really healthy, really weren't.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to nutrition, we really want to make it as wholesome as possible. Enjoy what you're eating, not really taking a lot of supplements if you can help it, but glad to see that you're really embracing that side of nutrition. When it comes to meal prep, I know that tends to be a struggle for a lot of people. It might take a big chunk of time. How do you incorporate it in your life?
Yeah, that is challenging. I try to make sure that I have enough ingredients on hand for a rest day and for a workout day.
Sure.
For at least a few days. And so the luxury is when I have time to make lentils with onions and mustards. I mean, make some real live vegetables and other foods that I can freeze.
Sure.
Or keep in the refrigerator for the rest of the week.
Yeah. So speaking to the time aspect, I would say that's one of the most common challenges that people face, is making their health and their nutrition a priority by giving it enough time that it needs. There are many obstacles that a lot of people face, and you have some unique ones as well, given your lifestyle and what you're constantly struggling with in terms of your time not being able to use it the way you want. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you overcome that obstacle?
Well, we have to eat out for a lot of meals,
Sure.
like a lot of meals, probably more than most people. And it's not by choice, it's
Sure.
by design because of Ron's role as president and certainly me as his wife. So what I will say is most restaurants you can make good choices.
So that's possible.
It is possible.
There you go.
The temptation is to look at some of the things that aren't good choices and
Sure.
say, well, I have to do this, right?
Right.
And there are some restaurants that I just stay away from because my experience, if I've been there, is a lot of fried foods, a lot of fat foods, and
Sure.
that really isn't what I want to eat. But the other thing I've found that's really important is you don't blow it if you just taste something. When people invite us over for dinner, I think, oh my God, what do I do? Or they're going to have pasta or what's, And quite honestly, you can be very gracious and eat what they've prepared and not leave thinking, oh, I ruined the whole day because I didn't eat what I should have.
Sure. It's definitely possible, especially if you know what are the good options versus some of the bad. Did it take you some time to understand that, or you feel like it was pretty easy enough to make those changes?
The hardest thing for me was eating carbs.
Okay.
And being focused on good fats.
Yeah.
Because fat, I just was like, if it's fat, I don't want it. And quite honestly, there are some really good fats that you should incorporate into your diet. But I will say, For You Fitness has really helped guide that process for me.
Sure. So since you do eat a lot out, what would you say are some of your maybe top 1 or 2 favorite places that you know you can still get a good meal and not have to feel that you've been deterred on your goals?
Well, Oxford Exchange actually has some very good choices,
Sure.
especially breakfast. They do an egg white omelet with quinoa.
Oh, yum.
And they do a chicken paillard with arugula. So if you just ask for your fat dressing on the side,
Okay.
and even if you don't use it, if you just ask for it on the side, then you can try bits and pieces of it and see if I think you can taste it and kind of tell if you should be eating it or not.
Sure.
BT
okay.
has farm-to-table ingredients. She's very conscientious about her meal preparation.
Yeah.
I won't say if you're counting carbs, it's the best choice.
Sure.
But if you're looking at ingredients, it certainly is. And then I'm kind of a Seasons 52 fan, but I also, because I eat there a lot, I do go online and look at their nutrition guidelines, and
Sure.
the amount of sodium, certainly the amount of carbs, because they give you calories,
Sure.
but you don't always know
The other.
what
Okay.
else is in it.
Okay. But I mean, you're using your resources, and that's definitely something that people can do. They might just not realize that it's something they can do.
If you really want to be focused on it, if you go online and look at a menu at a restaurant, you can make some comfortable choices. So you're not stressing about getting there and looking at the menu and saying, oh man, there's nothing here. 9 times out of 10, if you see a dish that has a cream sauce on it, you can say, that sounds really good, but could you just bring the salmon with the sauce on the side?
Sure.
And there you have your grilled or baked salmon. You don't have to, and you can always start your meal with a salad. And salads aren't always as healthy as they seem to, that they appear to be. But you can eat the vegetables and lettuce and things in a salad,
Sure.
tomatoes, and at least you have a great start to whatever is going to turn out to be the meal.
Sure.
And, can you say no to dessert? That's the big question.
That is the big question. So do you say no?
I do.
You do. But you still try, right?
Occasionally, yeah. And my husband likes desserts, so I might taste his. And we do a lot of events, so it's really important for me to know how things taste.
Sure.
Before I serve it to someone.
Sure.
And when we do a tasting, I try to schedule it on a workout day, and and then I just taste.
Right.
I don't make it my whole meal.
Sure. That way you're satisfying that just little craving if you have it, but you're not throwing away anything else from the day. So.
Right.
Okay. So given that the episode is really focused on mindset, Renee is someone who has really just embraced the right mentality. So I wanted to ask her if she can share with all of you, when you're starting this journey for yourself, when you really want to focus on these goals, what advice would you give to women, men alike, regardless of the age, regardless of the obstacles? How can they best achieve results and really be able to focus on it? How can they prepare themselves for that journey?
Well, I think the workout piece is pretty straightforward.
Sure.
So it really boils down to what you're eating.
Sure.
And I would say focus first on your sugars.
Okay.
And fats, because those are the things that are doing the most damage to your body.
Right.
And processed foods. So changes can be made slowly. The For You Fitness has great guidelines about the size of the food.
Sure.
So that's pretty straightforward. Everyone has a hand, so they can't say, I couldn't tell.
Right.
I have a scale. I do. I weigh food if I have a question about it. And then just make those changes. Each week you can incorporate a new change.
Yeah.
And try some of the thing for me was, I was so fixed on my carbs that I wasn't trying many whole grains.
Sure.
And of course, with your help and research, that really was good for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've really, found a whole new dietary path for eating with adding the whole grains back into my diet.
Sure. If you were to say maybe 1 or 2 reasons, why do you think some people aren't able to see the success? Like, they try, they do everything they can, at least they think they do, but then they either fall off and then they give up. Like, why do you think people aren't able to see that success?
Well, so what I've had to learn, it's
Sure.
kind of painful actually, is that your progress can't be totally measured with a tape measure and a scale.
Right.
And it's about your fitness, just doing things around the house,
Mm-hmm.
being able to pick up things off the floor and those squats come in handy on just real life. But,
Sure.
But I think you have to be in for the long haul. You're not going to see the results in a month. I did. I saw them in a month, but 4 months later, I really thought, gee, I'm not seeing a lot of progress. And but a year later, I'm seeing amazing progress.
Yeah.
So you have to stick with it.
Gotta stay strong, and Renee has actually become quite the inspiration across many of our client friends, and as well as her own friends and family, and that's been really amazing for us to see, because people see pictures of you and they're like, well, how do I look like her? And we're like, well, you just gotta, make sure you commit. So Renee's really been committed, and I wish that everybody could adopt that same mentality. So it's been amazing to see your progress. It's been amazing to learn from you. You're an inspiration to me too, in more ways than one outside of fitness. So I hope I can be just like you. But thank you so much for everything. Is there anything else that we need to cover? Anybody in the audience want to say anything?
I have one last thing.
Sure.
Don't wait until you're 61 to start coming to For You Fitness.
Amen.
In a year, I've accomplished a lot, and I intend to accomplish more each year. But I wish I'd started earlier.
Well, thank you so much again.